Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to the Explainer. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by your finances, you are definitely not alone. But today we're building a master plan to reclaim your financial power. Think of this as your personal, step-by-step toolkit. We're going to look at proven methods to cure that nagging financial stress, completely eliminate that exhausting payday-to-payday cycle, and really help you build a sustainable, lifelong savings habit. Let's get into it.
Here is the logical roadmap we'll be following today. We'll start with tracking your spending habits, move on to needs versus wants, check out the 50-30-20 rule, dive into zero-based budgeting, tackle paying off the past, and finally, building your future goals.
All right, Section 1, tracking your spending habits. This is where we diagnose the problem. Because before we can even think about building a budget, we actually have to know where our money is leaking out. So let me ask you, have you ever looked at your monthly bank statement and been genuinely surprised by your spending? Like, wait, I spent that much on coffee? According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, this kind of financial shock is incredibly common. We honestly often have no idea where our money is actually going each month. And, well, that's exactly why utilizing a spending tracker is absolutely crucial. It gives you the clarity you need to actually hit your financial goals. Simply put, you've got to see it to manage it. So the crucial point is to track absolutely everything for at least a full month to get a true, realistic picture. Once you have that data in front of you, it's time to ask yourself the hard questions. Did any unnecessary expense areas surprise you? Are you somehow still paying for subscriptions you haven't used in months? You've got to hunt down those totally avoidable credit card fees and take a really hard look at your weekend spending versus your weekday spending. Spotting these patterns, that's exactly how you take back control. Moving right along to Section 2, needs versus wants. Time for categorizing your life. In their fantastic financial book, All Your Worth, Elizabeth Warren and Amelia Warren Tiagi define these two categories super clearly. Needs are your absolute dignity and survival necessities. We're talking food, shelter, and basic transport. Wants, on the other hand, well, that's your discretionary fun. But the authors highlight a massive hidden danger here, and it's signing long-term contracts. When you sign up for a pricey gym membership or a high-end cell phone contract, you are secretly turning a flexible discretionary want into a rigid must-have bill. Don't fall for that trap. You really want to keep your baseline survival costs as low as possible. Let's actually look at how to apply this using the CFPB's Needs versus Wants worksheet. What this tool does is force you to list absolutely everything out. Then it asks a really tough question. Are some of your needs actually just wants in disguise? You literally have to cross off the wants that are the least important to you and put stars next to what truly fundamentally matters. It's kind of like an exercise in extreme financial honesty. Now, consider the idea of alternatives to wants, which the worksheet highlights. Honestly, this is such a brilliant concept. Think about it. You might need a car to get to work, right? That's a true need. But you might want a brand new, fresh-off-the-lot car. Buying a reliable used car perfectly satisfies the actual need, while giving you a much cheaper alternative to the want. Finding that compromise, that is exactly where you'll find your hidden wealth. Which brings us to Section 3, the 50-30-20 rule, a balanced approach. And this brilliantly illustrates one of the most popular budgeting frameworks out there. This rule takes your after-tax income and divides it into 3 simple buckets. 50% goes to your must-haves, 30% goes to your wants, and 20% is totally dedicated to savings or debt. What makes this formula so incredibly popular is that it actually gives you permission to spend that 30% on fun without a single ounce of guilt. Why? Because your essentials and your future are already securely taken care of. Based on an analysis by MMBB Financial Services, this method is wonderfully simple for beginners. It really promotes a balanced life without forcing you to constantly penny pinch. But, of course, there's a catch. Because that 30% wants category is so broad and flexible, it is very, very easy to accidentally overspend. Plus, this kind of oversimplification just might not fit everyone's unique cost of living. It's a great starting point, but maybe not the end-all be-all for everyone. So, let's look at the other side of the coin in Section 4, zero-based budgeting, maximizing control. Zero-based budgeting, or ZBB for short, takes the exact opposite approach. It's a method where your income minus your expenditures equals exactly 0 by the end of the month. Basically, before the month even begins, you are assigning every single dollar a highly specific purpose. Absolutely everything, your needs, your wants, your savings, and your debt payments must be fully allocated until literally nothing is left over. With ZBB, there is no such thing as spare cash just floating around in your checking account. Every single dollar gets a job.
The MMBB analysis shows that ZBB is perfect if you are highly goal-oriented. Say you're aggressively trying to pay off debt. This down-to-the-penny tracking is a total game changer because it eliminates all waste. But, you do have to be honest with yourself here. It is highly time-consuming to maintain. For beginners, it can feel overly complex. And if you forget to budget for, say, an unexpected flat tire or a medical bill, the rigidness of this system can feel incredibly frustrating. All right, Section 5, Paying Off the Past, Confronting Debt.
Now, what's really interesting here is this phrase from the book, All You're Worth. It completely shifts how you view credit. They call it steal from tomorrow debt. Now, we aren't talking about a mortgage here. This specifically refers to non-essential purchases made on credit. When you swipe a card for something you simply want today but don't have the cash for, you are literally robbing your own future financial success to pay for it. It's a powerful way to look at it, right? The only real way out is to reclaim your power. The authors point out a pretty harsh truth. You simply cannot borrow your way out of debt. Taking on more debt to pay off your initial debt is just a vicious, endless trap. And while they fully acknowledge that there are often deep systemic issues that keep people stuck in debt, they emphasize that playing the blame game will never, ever improve your personal situation. You have to take complete responsibility, stop the borrowing cycle in its tracks, and start paying it off immediately. Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 6, Building Your Future Goals, Creating Wealth. To really understand how wealth is created, look at these inputs from the Investor.gov Savings Goal Calculator. It essentially tells a mathematical story. It shows exactly how your initial investment, combined with time, interest rates, and compounding frequency, all work together like magic. Fun fact, because of the sheer power of compound interest, starting to save just a few years earlier can literally double your entire retirement fund. By playing around with these variables, you quickly realize that time and consistency are hands down your greatest wealth-building assets. So we've mapped out the blueprint for you. Track, categorize, and plan. The question now is, which path will you choose? Are you going to opt for the guilt-free flexibility of the 50-30-20 rule, or do you need the strict, meticulous control of zero-based budgeting? The choice is completely yours. But remember this, if you don't give your money a purpose, it's going to disappear without a trace. So what method will you use today to ensure your money is finally working for you instead of the other way around?